Hi everyone, welcome back to another crash course. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into JavaScript strings and their methods. Strings are a fundamental part of JavaScript, and there are a lot of built-in methods that help us manipulate strings in various ways. By the end of this video, you will have solid understanding of how to work with strings and how to use the most important string methods in JavaScript. What is a string in JavaScript? In simple terms, a string is a sequence of characters used to represent text. We can create a string by enclosing characters inside single quotes, double quotes, or backticks. So let's start now with the properties and methods of the string. I'll just go ahead and clear my screen. So strings, properties, and methods. So now let us look at different properties and methods for string. Let's start with a very basic important string property that is called length. So let's say we have just a simple text and just have it as John. So we can actually find out the length of this text by just applying a property called length to the text. So I'll be using console, but console, make sure you understand what console is doing here. Console is only helping us to actually be able to print the result within our console. Therefore, it is not part of the string properties and methods. It is just helping us to print it on the browser console. So the real property is this one, text.length. This is now the property. Length is now the property. If you write text.length, then we shall get the number of characters within a text. So if we even have spaces inside, let's say John is a male. So if we have spaces inside, length will also count the spaces. We have now 4 characters for John, then 5 for the space, 6, 7, 8 for the space, 9, 10 for the space, 11, 12, 13, 14. You can see now the characters are 14 because it is also counting the spaces. That is our first property for the string. Now if we move on, let me just clear this. If we move on and now go to the methods. So our first method now is the charAt method. So all methods should be invoked or called. So let's say now we have our text as maybe hello. Now if we try to use that method, remember we said console is just helping us to show things on the browser console. Now if we do text dot and we use the method, mind you, if you just write a string and put there a dot, your VS Code will give you some of the suggestions of all methods that can be applied to that data type. For now, it is the string. So all these methods they are showing us can be applied on strings. So we are not going to cover all of these methods. We are going to cover the most important ones, but you can as well also play around with some of the other strings methods and see how it should work out for you. So now I'll just go ahead and do charAt, and then this one, this method, if you hover on it, it says that it returns the character at a specified index. So in JavaScript or programming in general, all indexes start from 0. So the first character should have an index of 0. The second character should have an index of 1, and so on. So the last character now should have an index of -1 if we are to count from the backwards. So now if I put in a 0, you can see now it will show an H. If I put in 1, it should show now and if I put in 1, it should show now an E. If I try to put in -1, it won't show anything. This is because charAt or charAt, as you may pronounce, doesn't allow negative numbers. It only allows positive numbers and 0. So please make sure you don't put in negative numbers. But let's now look at another character or another method that now allows negative numbers. If I use the alt method and put in 0, it will do the same thing as the charAt did, but for it even accepts negative numbers. If I put in -1, you can see it also printed a 0. If I put in -2, it will now print L. If I put in negative like 4, it should now print an E, because this is -1. There is no -0, you understand? -2, then -2, then -3, then -4. You see it will print an E for the -4. Let us look at a method called bracket notation. So this is not sort of a method, it's a property. So bracket notation, this is a property that helps us to also be able to grab any character from a string by specifying the index. To give you an example, let me just say constant text and maybe just say John. And now if I want, let me use also console so that we see the result in the browser console. If I say text and then use the bracket notation and specify an index, if I just don't specify an index, they will give me some error. And if I specify a 0, then they should give me the first character. Again, please do remember to always use strict mode within your JavaScript code. Use strict derivatives should be used always to actually prevent you from meeting or from being exempted from some common errors. So now this one is going to print the first character. This one also doesn't allow negative numbers. As you will see, it will be undefined. If you even put in a -2, it will show you undefined. So it will only allow positive numbers. If you put in 2, now this is 0, 1, 2, it will print an H. Just like charAt, square brackets, as I said, they do not accept negative numbers. They only accept positive numbers which start from 0 and above. One important thing to note is that this is a read-only way to access characters. You cannot change a character this way, so it means it is immutable. We can as well extract part of a string using some methods like slice. Let me clear the screen, and now we use the slice method. Slice method. So the way the slice method works is that it extracts a part of a string and returns a new string. You can specify a starting index and an option ending index. So let me show you by example. So if we just do constant text and we just specify maybe some random text like apple, banana, with some separated by just some commas. So we can always extract from this string extract some text using slice. So as I said, slice returns a new string. Therefore, we can just define that new string. So that part which is sliced, can say constant part, and then we say text.slice. Then we specify the start. As you can see, the suggestions are telling you it has a start which is a number and an end which is a number. The index to begin of the specified portion of a string object. So now we can specify now our start. So we can say we want to start from 7 and end at 13. So, but the most important thing you need to notice, or you need to make sure that you understand, even though we just said it ends at 13, but the 13th character is not included. So it means the result now, if we just do console.log of path, let us see now the result. So we can see the result is banana. So let us count now. We just started from 0. Remember the index starts from, we just started from 7. Remember the index starts from 0. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 is starting from B. Now 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can see the 13th character, which is the comma, did not come in because the 13th character or the last or the end number is not included, right? So let me repeat this once again. So in this example, slice 7 up to 13. 7 is the start number and 13 is the end number. This will extract a part of a string from index 7 and up, but not including index 13's character, which gives us now the word banana in the console. We can as well use another method called substring. So this is almost similar to slice, but if you provide negative numbers as arguments, they are treated as 0. So let us try this one. So I'll just start from here. So this is going to be text and then substring. If you start typing, it will show up. And then also this one has a start and an end. Let us give it the same thing, 7 and 13. And if we console the part, we shall actually get the same thing as you see. But note that for it, if you give it a negative number, it will treat it as 0. For example, let us give it a -1. If we give it a -1, it is going to treat it as 0. That is why you see it started from here up to banana, right? If you give it now a 1, it is not going to start from A. It will start from P, because P is the second character, which has an index of 1. Remember, the index starts from 0, please. If you give it a 0, if you give it a 0 now, that is when it is going to start from apple. So now let us look at another method that is almost similar to slice and substring, and almost the same naming as substring. For it, it is substr. And for it, it takes in a start index, and the second argument should be the length of the character you want to extract. So let's say if we start from 7, it means starting from 7 is from index 7. It is actually from here, as we saw last time. Then we can put there 6, but this 6, what it means? This 6 means that it will extract 6 characters. That is to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then this one is going to print out banana. But if you see it very well, it has some cross inside, or it is struck, and if you hover on it, they will tell you the declaration was marked as deprecated here. So this method is deprecated. So in the near future, it will no longer be used. So please be conscious and always be careful when you're using some methods, because if they are marked like this in the future, they will no longer be used. And those ones, you can no longer use them or in your code base. So this is a very important method that most of you are going to use. This is what we call uppercase and lowercase. So uppercase and lowercase. So uppercase is capital letters and lowercase is small letters. So if we have like a text, maybe John, if we have declared a text called John, this is in smaller. Let me just do it as the way we normally write it. So if I just do console.log and now specify the text dot to uppercase, it's the method is to uppercase, not uppercase. So now I need to invoke the method. So it will now turn my string into capital letters. So now if I use to lowercase, it will turn my whole string to small letters. So this is how we can turn all the letters of a string into small letters and capital letters. So please, you can use this one in so many ways, and this is going to be helping you in your code base. Another method is the trim method. So the trim method removes some spaces within a text. So let me just use this one. And then the method is trim. So if we say John is sleeping, maybe like this, and you say console.log and you say text.trim. So there are a lot of trims. There is trim end, there is also trim start. Let us use the trim. So if we invoke it, it's a method, by the way. If we invoke it and try to see how it just worked out, so what this one is going to do, it is going to remove spaces, but it won't remove spaces that are necessary. It will just remove some spaces that are not necessary. That is to say, the start and the end. Let me give you an example. Let me just put in spaces here. Are you seeing end space being applied here? So even if I put it here at the start, are you seeing end space? Even if I put in more space, you won't see end space being applied here. So this is going to prevent space from the start and the end. So now if let me put in some space at the end and maybe use trim end. So what this one is going to do, it is going to just remove the space at the end, but you can see at the start there were some spaces. So now let us try also to use other methods randomly. So let us just give ourselves this variable, and now remember when we use console we just want to print to our browser. So if we put there a dot, we can now see other methods. You can see concat, you can see ends with, includes, index of, and so on. So let us try to use like ends with. If we do ends with and we invoke it, we can see if a text ends with a certain character, we specify. If we specify a certain character h, that is in quotes, they will tell us false. But if we specify ends and a character that we all know that it ends with it, like oh, it will now print a boolean true because this character ends with an O character. Now let us use it's another one which is almost the same as it, starts with. If we say starts with an O, you can see this text doesn't start with an O. But if we just put there an H, we can also get false because it starts with a capital H. Therefore, you need to specify the character very well. If we put there a capital H, it is true. Now, we can also use another method, text, and now we can maybe use concat, and we can concatenate something like John. So if we use concat, you can see it will add John to it. To make sure that we put there some spacing, we can concat two characters. You can separate the characters with a comma. So the first one should have some spacing inside, and then you have the second character. You can also add more. You can add another comma and put there some spacing, and as well add another comma and put there maybe some other character is, and so on. You can make a sentence with just using concat. So let us also look at another method now by just quickly choosing randomly. Let us see includes. So if a text includes, this is self-explanatory. Of course, this is going to return a boolean which is either true or false. If we say this text includes E should be now in quotes. Please do not forget this. They will say true because in this text we have an E. If we just put there a random letter like Z, they will say false because we don't have any Z in our hello string. Now let us also choose another one. Let's choose another one randomly, index of. So if we say index of, you understand we need to provide a character and it will find us its index. So we can say index of O. We can say its index is 4. If we count, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Its index is 4. If we put there the index of H to prove that the index of H is 0, you can see it prints 0. So all of these methods and so many others, you can try to play around with them as I just did. You can play around with them and see how the last index of works, the local compare how it works, matches all, and so on, the padEnd, the padStart, and repeat. Like for the repeat, if you want something to repeat, you can specify the number of times you want it to repeat. I want hello to be repeated 4 times. You can see hello 4 times. So you can try to use these methods and properties as you want and try to play around with them and see how it will work out for you. But what I just showed you, these are the most commonly used methods and properties. Please make sure you understand them and try out the rest of the others. Yes, this is it for today on JavaScript strings and methods. I hope you found this helpful, especially if you are just starting out. If you did, don't forget to like the video and subscribe and turn on notifications for more beginner-friendly programming tutorial related to JavaScript. Thanks a lot for attending, and happy coding, everyone. Bye.